Well, in the words of the original trilogy,
I got a bad feeling about this.
hello, Geeker Things! Wade here, and today we are going to be talking about Hasbro's new line, the Retro Collection. I don't like it. This is just a really weird line to me. I don't exactly see what the point of it is, and a lot of collectors feel the same way. This is leaving a lot of people all kind of just feeling very indifferent towards it, and I don't think that's very good. Interestingly, all the pre-orders on Target.com sold out, although how many pre-orders that was, it's probably not a lot if I'm being honest. Like maybe less than 100 or so, and people pre-ordered all of them, but they sold out relatively fast. So could be an interest in this line. I'm not really seeing it, but we'll be talking about that in this video. But I wanted to be talking about the good ideas behind it and then the bad ideas behind it. Some of the flaws that I am already seeing with this line, and then I'll also discuss about what they should have done for this line, because I don't think this line is quite enough to maybe give Hasbro what they were looking for initiatively. If you're a Star Wars fan, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, keeping up to date with the latest in New York Toy Fair 2019, and without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so just to get this out of the way, I'm going to start off with what I don't like about it, and, well, in the words of the original trilogy,
I got a bad feeling about this.
and I really do have a bad feeling about this. Number one, because I feel like this is going to make many dishonest eBayers' lives a lot easier when it comes to the repros of accessories or actual figures. We already deal with quite a lot with eBayers and such lying that they're authentic, and then the buyer gets it and, oh, turns out it's a fake. It's happened quite a bit before. I've heard many horror stories. It's kind of a problem, but not too big. I feel like Hasbro's just going to be adding fuel to the fire. It's going to make their lives much easier now. And it's maybe going to be a problem, because we're going to have to do some more tests like we already have to. Like there's the water test. There's the drop test to see what kind of noise it makes. All kinds of stuff, and it's just not a good idea. Number two, I think these are possibly going to peg warm for a very long time. They're not really super collectible. They're only showing 6 of the original 12 so far. Now that could be because that's just Wave 1, and Wave 2 will maybe come out in the fall or something. But just give us a 12 back, for crying out loud. That's what collectors want. You might as well just do it instead of just showing 6 action figures. Like, the actual back of the card back is absolutely hideous. And I don't think collectors like the idea of it so far. And I don't think kids are going to like them either, because they're 5 POA. We deal with that enough. They can't sell their stock. It just seems so mixed. Like, why would you do this? I just don't like the idea so far. And I think there's an underwhelming response. Like, looking online on Jedi Temple Archives and maybe Yakface, you can see a lot of collectors expressing their thoughts about this. Like, yeah, it's nice, but we don't need it, nor did we even ask for it. So it's just an odd attempt from Hasbro. Number 3, we're already kind of seeing it already, but I think collectors are going to throw a fit over these. We've dealt with this problem before in 1996 when Kenner made the Classic Edition 4-packs. It had Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Chewbacca, and Darth Vader. Collectors threw a fit about it. No joke. Like, I still hear stories to this day from other people talking about that very same 4-pack of figures. Now, interestingly, these were, I think, a Toys R Us exclusive, and they didn't really sell that well at all. They kind of maybe pegged the shelves for quite a while, and later on, they kind of got some money, but they kind of bounce all over the place nowadays. One minute they're worth 20 bucks, then the next one's like 50. Some people say they're rare, some other people don't list them as rare. It's like, we can't really decide on what they are, and I think the key detail is they're not desirable. 1996 was how many years ago? That's 23. And they're still not worth that much. No, they're not really that desirable at all. And I don't think these are going to be that desirable either, because I feel like we're just repeating history. It's going to be 1996 all over again, except in 2019. Okay, so number 4. I don't think these look very collectible, if I'm being honest. I think they're kind of ugly. Now, sure, it's classic card backs. Yay, whoopee, that's nice, but it kind of gets washed out with the fake white lines and creases all over the edges of them. It just looks so cheesy, and it just kind of looks bad. Like, what is this? Like, it just looks so silly. And then let's talk about that big red circle on it saying Retro Collection. Is that a sticker or is that printed on? Because I'm hearing both from all sorts of people saying, oh, it's a sticker. No, this is printed on. I'm really hoping it's a sticker, because I think that would be nice to give collectors the option to just peel that dadgum ugly thing off and give us more of a classic card back. I just think it looks so silly. Like, they couldn't make a small itty bitty one in the top right or something? No, let's make this a giant thing. Let's make it stand out. It's not really that visually appealing, I think. Also, let's talk about the back of the card back. That is so ugly. That's even worse than what the vintage collection has now. They only show the art of 6 figures, and that was the ones in that wave, I assume. Come on, why not just show the entire 12 back? At least let us know if you're going to make wave 2 or not. Because it's just, they take up like that much space on the card back, and the rest of it is just words. The legalese stuff, that takes up probably almost half of the card back, and that is so visually unappealing. It's not collectible at all, just like these vintage collection right here. It's really sad. It's really just annoying. Like, why do we need that? And it still has the Disney Death logo on it. That's probably going to take a chunk out of its worth and value. Yeah, this just doesn't seem collectible. The card backs themselves just seem like a cheesy idea, and kind of poor imitators of 12 backs if that's what Hasbro was trying to do. But it's a bummer, but oh well. Okay, number 5. My problem with this is this defeats the entire purpose of the vintage collection. I'm not kidding. The vintage collection was supposed to encompass all collectors, whether they were fans of Kenner, super articulated figures, prequel trilogy, original trilogy, expanded universe, you name it, the vintage collection was going to make it. And they made a promise to kind of give fans of all types what they wanted, and they succeeded by 1,000,000%, no doubt. I have rarely met anybody that does not like the vintage collection, if I've met any at all. This line, it just defeats the purpose of it. If you're going to make new figures in retro Kenner style, yet we're not getting them in the vintage collection, when that's why the vintage collection was made, so we can get those new figures on classic packaging, it's just, ooh. No, I just don't like it. This line is almost acting like an Uno reverse card, and now we're at square one basically again. We're gonna restart all the way back, and let's just make some new figures along the way. And we're also at square one again because this vintage collection right here is such a setback of what we used to get. It's so lackluster right now that collectors are barely interested in it, and we can't even find the brand new figures that we want anywhere. It's ridiculous right now, and I feel like
this is not going to go the way you think.
Okay, so number 6. I don't think these are going to be a good investment. I honestly don't, and I'll tell you why. Only the original Kenner figures, the Collect 92 ones, those are worth money because A, they're the original and they're authentic. You don't really meet people that like to buy bootlegs. I certainly don't. I avoid bootlegs at all costs. If I'm going to spend money on this, I want the real deal. And that's what collectors want. They want authentic, and they are investing their money into this with the hopes of, hey, maybe this is going to be worth something one day. Come on, we all have that mindset to a certain degree. And these don't really feel authentic. These are just simply repros. That's all they are at the end of the day. And for some reason, I myself and these other collectors just view these as bootlegs. It's like, once we get that image popped into our head, we can't get it out. These look like bootlegs, and they feel like bootlegs for some reason. And I myself, in good conscience, I can't pull myself to do it for some reason. I want to like this line, but I just really can't. I just don't like what I'm seeing so far, and it just bothers me for some reason. I don't really know how else to explain it. Okay, so now that I got all the negatives out of the way, I might as well talk about the positives of this line. First off, that Tarkin figure is absolutely cool. I'll admit, I do like the Tarkin figure, and I appreciate him because I remember my dad always saying that as a kid he wanted Tarkin. He's like, he was so surprised that they never made Tarkin as a figure, and I think that too. He's a pretty core character. I mean, come on, it's Peter Cushing. I think that's pretty cool, actually, and that gives it a unique feel to it, like, okay, that's a good idea. And that Tarkin figure does actually interest me, and it's cool. I'm not gonna lie. The game he comes with also sounds interesting. It's probably not gonna be the greatest thing ever, but Tarkin figure, that's why people are gonna buy that pack. It's gonna be just like the 40th anniversary Vaders that I got 3 of over there because I can't sell them. But yeah, I think the Tarkin is a cool idea. Number 2, these are Target exclusives, actually. So, that's good because they're not going to pegwarm the entire nation. They're not going to clog up Targets, Walmarts. Gosh, where else gets Star Wars toys? That's pretty much it. There's no more Toys R Us. Rip. So maybe that'll help because it's a Target exclusive that these are going to be limited and we won't have to see these as much as we do like these guys back here. Number 3, Hasbro made the statement that more figures that have never been made before by Kenner will also be available in this new retro collection line. That definitely sounds like a good idea, because I could go for some Cantina band members myself, some more Cantina aliens, some more core characters that we need, and I think collectors would maybe like that idea more, of getting some weird oddball characters for sure. And okay, that sounds promising, I'll admit, but I just don't know if it's enough to carry this line forward or not. Number 4, I guess I appreciate the effort Hasbro made to appease the classic Kenner fans. I really don't know what else to say about it, but I'll give them props for that, I guess, for at least trying. How about that? Then, number 5. I guess it'll give collectors a new experience, and I'm talking about people like myself also, who never had the opportunity to see what Star Wars looked like in 1978. Seeing these classic Kenner figures sitting on shelves, that would certainly be a unique experience, and I'm kind of jealous for all you guys that grew up in the 70s who got to see that, who got to walk into a Sears and just see the glory of Star Wars in its former days. Because it's certainly not like that now. Those days ended back in 2013 probably, and it has not been the same since. And that's a good idea, that's cool. Because that'll give us a glimpse at what Star Wars used to look like back then, except with maybe a little bit of a modern twist to it. Okay, we are now at the point where I'll tell you guys what I think Hasbro should have done for this line. First off, if they want to make these things collectible, they should make them in limited quantities. Now, that hasn't been confirmed if these are limited edition or not, but hey, it wouldn't hurt. It'll make these things at least worth something, right? If they made these in super limited quantities. Not difficult, like hard to find quantities, but just enough where they get them out to the market, collectors are able to get what they want, and then that's it. No more. No more re-releases. I don't want to see more Wave 1 characters just like this, just popping up all over the place. And I think that'll maybe help the line just a wee bit and make it better. But Hasbro needs to find a way to draw in the collecting crowd and make these things desirable. Because so far the results have kind of been underwhelming and the future of this line is a little bit undecided. And make it appealing to collectors by saying, hey, these are limited edition, and that'll allow them to make their investment and still have good and happy thoughts towards the future. There's proof that Hasbro used to do limited quantity figures back when the vintage collection started. They wanted to appeal collectors, and they did not mass produce to the extreme like they did with Wave 1. And they did a phenomenal job at keeping the right amount of quantity for the figures to where they're still available to find, but there's not enough to where they're still worth something. And hey, that was perfect. Us collectors were so very satisfied that we were able to buy these figures. Some of them cashed out and they made their money back, and collectors were happy with that. So my next idea, I think this is what Hasbro should have done if they wanted to make this line super unique and super collectible, appealing to quite a lot of collectors. My idea is that Hasbro should have dug into the Kenner archives, and they should have pulled out the concept packaging like they did for the vintage collection, and they should have used that as the basis for all the figures. If they released all the classic Kenner figures on the concept packaging of what they almost got, yeah, I think collectors would have been ecstatic towards that, because how cool would it have been to display the concept figures right next to your authentic Kenner figures? That would have made those worth something in themselves, because, hey, this is awesome. They got the concept and the authentic right here. Yeah, that would have been so cool, and that would have piqued my interest for the line. I would have totally done that had they done the concept for all Kenner figures, because that would have made it truly unique. Just like the 6 figures in the vintage collection from, I think, 2011 or 12, where they did that, and collectors for the most part were pretty happy over that. It was something that we did not see before, and I honestly appreciate the card back. That was really cool. So that's what I think they should have done for it. I think Hasbro severely needs to look into making chase variants. The prime example of doing this is Funko, and sure, hunting for chase Funko Pops is a difficult thing. I have never seen one out in the wild before. But if Hasbro were to take that concept and make it a little bit easier for collectors to find, but just enough to where they're still kind of hard to find, and make it fun to toy hunt again. And if they did the chase variant as the 12-back double racetrack cards, have those be the chase variant, like, hey, you can also get these too, except these are going to be a little bit harder to find, but I think the results will be worth it. Yeah, I think that would have been a great idea to introduce for this line, because I've stated before, they should do it in the vintage collection. Steve Evans asked us, did we want a clean Stormtrooper or a dirty Stormtrooper? The fans said, we want a clean one first, but if you would like, you can make a dirty chase variant for us to get as well, and we'd be pretty happy with that as well. So, I think it's a good idea. I honestly do. I don't know if Hasbro will ever do it or not, but hey, it can happen in the future, and I hope it does, because that will actually make it even more collectible and desirable to collectors. And hey, who doesn't like a toy hunt? Come on, that's what makes toys toys. You gotta look for them, and when you see them, you're like,
no, I have to buy this now, Mom. I have to, because I will never see this again.
Yeah, so I think that's what Hasbro needs to do in order to make this line good and interest collectors. So, what did you guys think of my thoughts? You think they were good ideas? Do you think I was being too negative towards these things? Believe it or not, of all people, this surprises the heck out of me. My dad, of all people, loves the idea of this line. I'm like, boggled that he is so... He's like,
yeah, these things are the coolest thing ever.
And I'm all like...
What? Are you serious?
Like, I couldn't tell if he was joking or not. No, he's actually serious. He wants to buy these, and... kudos to him, I guess. I'm not going to judge you if you like this line or not. I just simply think it's funny, and it's an odd line. But hey, if you like it, you like it. That's okay. It doesn't bother me. But yeah, I just thought I'd share that info with you guys. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this new retro collection line as well. And if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And as always, stay tuned for more Geeker things.